Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture of literature. I'm Andrew Fort, and we are here for a poetry discussion. But this is a video which will appear in at least 2 playlists here on the channel. It is possible that one day I will have gone through enough of Langston Hughes' work to necessitate a playlist of its own, but for now this will appear in the Poetry Discussions playlist. I don't know why that made me pause, but also the National Poetry Month. My mustache makes it look like I got something in it. The National Poetry Month celebration here on the channel, where I will be doing a poetry discussion every day of the month here in April. So the poem in question today is Harlem by Langston Hughes, or more specifically, Harlem 2. It is a poem which reads as such. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust over, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? I messed that up so bad I think I'm going to give it one more try here. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? There is a review for this poem here on the channel that's about 30 minutes long, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, but I go into a lot more detailed thoughts on this poem, but I think what I want to discuss right now is that idea of dreams in general. And what is it that Langston Hughes means when he speaks of dreams? When he speaks of dreams in this poem, is this the dream of being a movie star or being a world-famous singer or something along those lines? I don't think so. Is this simply getting to the next day, a dream of waking up in the morning? I think it's grander than that, however. I think that it is necessary for a dream to be cited in a poem, especially. It is necessary for that dream to be something weightier than a standard life. But how much weightier, how much heavier must that dream be than simply the standard life? I think that it has to be a big enough goal, a large enough dream, in order to keep one motivated towards living one's best life. And that is why the dream deferred might come with such heavy consequences as explosion, as festering like a sore and then running. So that line in particular, I think, is easy to sort of overlook. Does it fester like a sore and then run? And then run? What do you mean, run? Run along? No, that is not what it means. Running as in oozing, I think, is what this line is implying. Does a deferred dream fester like a sore and then ooze? If you've ever had one of those injuries, you know how nasty that is. You know how much that affects other things. If a wound is festering and running, first off, it might be life-threatening because infection alone getting into the bloodstream might kill you, but it's also affecting everything else that you do. So this dream deferred, festering and running, will affect you socially, will affect you financially, will affect you in every facet of waking life. A dream deferred affecting you in every facet of waking life. That's heavy. That's heavy stuff. So when we're speaking of these dreams and their deferment, we're speaking about something which, so a dream is already something that is not real. The deferment of a dream. A dream is something towards which we strive. That's what a dream is, something towards which we strive. So when you're speaking of a dream deferred, you're already speaking about something that is not real. So to defer something which is not real is basically to cancel or annul it altogether. That is what we're talking about here. Is the threat, a dream deferred, the threat of cancellation of one's dreams? The dream being that which motivates someone towards tomorrow. The cancellation of that which motivates someone towards the morrow is the cancellation, possibly, of the need to wake up in the morrow. So cancellation of a dream deferred. Look, dreams are not tangible. Dreams are not real. Dreams are the nice thing which we might be chasing. Therefore, a dream deferred, the nice thing which we might be chasing, possibly being canceled, is the loss of motivation for life. I think dreams are one of the most quintessentially human things. Wake up your dog and ask him if he wants to be famous. Does your cat really think that he or she is ruling the world? And those are the animals which we hold closest, right? Those are the ones that we've domesticated, the ones that we decide to live with. They don't dream. Not like we do. Fido might dream of catching a squirrel in the yard, but he doesn't dream of catching that squirrel, being the best squirrel catcher ever. He just dreams of catching the squirrel. So to defer one of those things which is quintessentially most human is to dehumanize. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? That last line, or does it explode, is italicized. It's the only line in the poem which is italicized. What do we make of that? Are we to take from that? Are we to infer that this is what the author's opinion is? That a dream deferred does indeed explode? Or that there is good reason when this dream deferred explodes? Is the author implying that dehumanization, this dehumanization inside deferring a dream, this dehumanization is cause for explosion, is cause for anger, is cause for violence? Is that what is being implied here by the author? By the speaker, perhaps? It's so hard to know exactly the difference between the speaker and the writer at times, especially with poems like Langston Hughes, where there's no character involved here. This is the propagation of ideas, right? There's not really a speaker employed, but we have to dichotomize the speaker and the writer because this is not necessarily the opinion of the writer. This is, so the dichotomization between the speaker and the writer is much like when you see a stand-up comedian on stage. You understand that all of the opinions he or she is sharing are not those opinions which would be reflected inside the everyday mechanizations, the just brainless monotony of the comedian's daily life. That comedian who jokes about dead babies or whatever is not thinking about dead babies while driving to his 9-to-5 job. So we have to dichotomize that speaker and author, much in the same way that we dichotomize the comedian and the joke. That said, I am not sure what to make of that last line being italicized. It would be, look, we have drying up like a raisin in the sun. That's basically a dream dying, just disappearing. Festering and stinking like rotten meat, that is a dream imploding the dreamer. Does it crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? That is something which I had a dream to be a world famous singer. I can't do it, but I still kind of get to play with that idea, so I am more palatable in my daily life. Or maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Again, this sort of vision of an imploding dreamer. Or does it explode? That's fairly troubling, isn't it? That's all I have for this poetry discussion. I hope to have you back on the next one. I've got 30 poetry discussions coming this month, and I hope to have you back for the rest of them.